Hello, welcome, welcome. This class is going to be a short and sweet upper body stretching class. So the specific focus of this session is to open up the shoulders and the neck. This is going to be a lot of neck stretching, a lot of working with the gaze and with the upper body. So I would recommend that you start seated, probably cross-legged, as you can see that I'm sitting on two blankets. So I'll kind of show you. If you have two blankets, you could stack them one on top of the other with the smooth side in front. If you don't have blankets, you could sit up on two blocks or one block. You could sit up on a cushion or just roll up a towel or something to elevate your hips higher than your knees. So I like to sit all the way to the front edge, almost like I'm at the edge of my seat, because it helps to take the pelvis from sort of this relaxed, curved position, which I'll show here. So kind of this habitual slumped position that we might find ourselves sitting in all day in regular chairs or in the car. It kind of rounds the back here. We're going to try to take the opposite shape in our pelvis and almost tilt it forward in an anterior pelvic tilt. It's a little exaggerated the way I'm showing it, but just to get the point across. So it's actually taking my pelvis and aligning it neutral. It might feel like you're tilting it forward because we're so used to sitting this way. And then I'm engaging the core a little bit, but this just allows my spine to now grow out of my pelvis. My legs are crossed, my hips are a little bit higher than my knees, so some of us might even need 3 blankets to feel comfortable. And we should be able to find a somewhat restful position here. If this is not a great seat for you, you're welcome to take hero's pose, which I usually do with 1 or 2 blocks. I'll show it from the side just so you could see what's going on, where you're kind of sitting on your block with the toes tucked in and the heels out. And again, this allows us to sit comfortably in the pelvis so that the spine can grow tall out of the base. So you can choose how you want to start. I'm going to start in that cross-legged seat with my 2 blankets. And so take a moment to get comfortable. Make sure it's a seat that you can stay in for quite some time because we're going to be here for several minutes. So make sure it does genuinely feel like you can maintain the seat. And then once you're there, you're going to ground your hands, palms facing down, somewhere on your legs or your knees. And let's start with 3 deep breaths together. So we're going to take an inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth, inhale, exhale, clear it out. Maybe soften the gaze or close the eyes completely. Breathe in and out through your nose. Now we're going to start to settle here as we ground into the space, into the present moment, and into our own bodies. And see if with every inhale you can relax your shoulders. If there's any pinching or tension in your back, see if you can breathe into that space on the inhale and allow it to soften with the exhale. We tend to hold a lot of stress and tension in the shoulders and neck without even realizing it. And so our bodies have this learned pattern of gripping and tensing in the shoulders. So maybe you just start to observe what you're feeling here. And we'll take 3 more breaths silently, just witnessing the body, noticing the soft rise and fall of your chest or belly as you breathe in and out. And see if you can soften the fingers. And then gently blink the eyes open. Take in the environment, see the space around you. Ground yourself into the space. And then from here, we're going to roll the shoulders all the way up towards your ears and scrunch and compress. And then roll them back and down and depress the shoulder blades down. We're going to do a couple shoulder rolls like this. So start to rise your shoulders up to your ears, create tension, and then kind of release the tension and let it go back and down. And repeat this pattern a couple times. So rise the shoulders up, feel that scrunching, feel that compression, and then let it go back and down. And do this 2 more times. So we're doing really exaggerated shoulder rolls here. So we can feel a little bit of contrast between these positions. And you might already be starting to work through some tension depending on how tight you are. And maybe this is the last one. And then let the shoulders go down. We're going to inhale, reach the arms up, take a nice big stretch overhead, maybe wiggle the fingers a little bit. Interlace your fingers, flip your palms towards the sky, pull your navel in for support, and then take a little side bend to your right. It could be small, just so you start to open up the left side of your body. And then come back to center, and then side bend over to the left. And then come up to center. Cactus the arms, but keep the chest tall. So not quite a back bend. We're just bending the elbows about 90 degrees. Fingers spread nice and wide. So energize through your hands. And you might feel a nice stretch here. And then we're just going to turn our body to the right. So keeping your arms in this cactus pose. And then come back to center. And then turn your body to the left. So you're just twisting, rotating. Back to center. And then let's bring the fingertips to the floor. So I want you to stretch actively towards the ground. If you can touch the ground, bring the tips of your fingers rooted onto something. For some of us, it might be helpful to put a block or 2 blocks, one under each hand, so that you can ground your fingers onto something. And then if not, you could just reach and actively stretch through the fingers. So they're kind of on this like low V shape. We're going to take small circles with the head. So I want you to start small. And you can probably feel that there's a stretch happening in the top of your delt, kind of along the neck, tops of the shoulders. So small circles. Maybe imagine like the crown of your head, this top part of the head has a pencil and you're drawing circles on the ceiling. And then go the other way. So I just want you to start to explore the sensations in your neck and shoulders here and see how they're connected. And we're actively reaching our shoulders away from our ears. And then you're going to relax the arms, drop your chin to your chest, and then let your head kind of rock side to side. And let the circles kind of be like half circles. Your chin is somewhat gliding along the body, along the collarbones, and then rising. So you're doing like a semicircle. And we're letting that circle get a little bit bigger so that you could start to stretch behind the neck and into the back of your shoulder. And maybe do this one more time, even out both sides. And when you're complete, bring your chin to your chest, gazing down towards your ankles or the floor. Lift your gaze forward back to neutral. From here, we're going to take a twist to the right. So just bring your right hand behind you, left hand across to your opposite knee, and look all the way behind you. Try to pull the belly in and sit up nice and tall. Breathe in. Twist deeper, breathe out. Do that again, breathe in. Twist a little deeper, breathe out. Breathe in one last time. Breathe out, come forward. Twist to the left. So left hand back, right hand across, sit up tall, pull the belly in, breathe out, twist deeper. Repeat that. Last one, breathe in, and then breathe out, untwist, come forward. From here, we're going to reach our arms to the sides like the letter T, thumbs up, pinkies down, stretch through the fingers. We're going to flip the palms back and then bring both hands behind your back, stacking one hand flat on top of the other. Roll the shoulders back and down and lift your heart slightly, just a little bit. The chin is going to follow. You don't have to look up at the ceiling, but just a soft rise of the chin and the eyes. As you roll the shoulders back and down and try to bring your elbows towards each other. And then kind of relax back to neutral, switch the other hand on top. Roll the shoulders back and down, spread the heart, spread the collarbones. Let your gaze lift slightly. Breathe deeply into the heart space. Feel the stretch in the tops of your shoulders, and then let that go. All right, we're gonna just land the hands onto the knees or thighs and let your head laterally bend to the right. So you can think of letting your ear drop towards your shoulder while keeping your face forward. So we're just now stretching this left side here. Take a couple breaths here. This might already feel intense if you're super tight here. Or if you're feeling relatively good, maybe you take your right hand and softly land it on top of the head and add just a little bit of weight. So you're not pulling the head, we're just adding weight. And then if this feels okay, you might take your left hand and stretch it, try to get your fingertips to touch the floor. I think it's nice also to reach the hand a little behind the body. I happen to feel more of a stretch when I bring the hand a little behind me, but you could explore with your unique body, with your unique needs, where that hand placement is going to give you the most benefit. Might be nice to close the eyes or soften the gaze and just feel into this deep, deep stretch. And then with those left fingers, you might just start to wiggle the fingers, or you could pretend like you're plucking a blade of grass and kind of start to move the fingers around. And you'll see how that kind of changes the stretch. You could even have the palm nice and open and just rotate the arm, internal, external rotation with that bottom arm. We'll do this for 2 more breaths. This is a really nice stretch to create more space between your left ear and your left shoulder. And then from here, we're going to flip this left palm back, half bind this arm behind your back. Very gently release your right hand to your right knee. Slowly, tenderly bring your head back to center. Keep your left arm behind your back. So you probably feel a difference already. From here, we're going to cross our right hand over to the left knee and twist again, keeping your left arm behind your back. And you might feel this a little more in your shoulder and your chest, and you could turn your gaze left. And take 1 more inhale. Exhale, reset back to neutral, hands on the legs. So now this left side probably feels significantly more open than the right. Let's balance it out. Let your left ear softly drop toward the left shoulder so that the right side starts to get a stretch. And very subtle shifts in your chin, either down or up, is going to change the stretch for you. So you could play with that as well, but keep the head relatively straight on. And then if this feels okay, left hand on top of the head just to add a little weight, not so much to pull. And then reach the right arm low and maybe slightly behind you. And that action of stretching through the right hand is going to make a huge difference as well. So you don't want this hand to be relaxed. You want it to really be reaching for something. And that's where maybe wiggling the fingers changes the sensations, maybe rotating the palm forward and back. So what you're doing here is actually rotating your whole arm. Or you could play around with any other little variations that allow you to feel this stretch more deeply. Maybe even drawing tiny circles with that arm. I'll take 2 more breaths to explore this stretch. And then you're going to half bind the right arm behind the back. Move very slowly because this is delicate tissue in our neck. Release the left hand back to your leg. And then gently, without any rush, bring your head back to center so you feel your skull resting on top of your spine. Ooh, all right. From here, we're going to take a twist. Left hand crosses to the knee, rotate to the right, and turn your head to the right. So you're looking kind of behind you. And stay for another breath. And on your exhale, come back to neutral, hands to the legs. Maybe shake it out a little bit, rotate the shoulders, get a little movement here if you want to kind of circle the head small. Just give yourself a little movement that feels good. And it might feel nice also to interlace the fingers and puff your back. Kind of like cat pose, drop your chin, round your back, press into your shoulders. And then from here, reach the arms overhead. And we'll just take simple tricep stretch. Grab one elbow, look down. And take like 2 or 3 breaths. And you can think about getting your elbow to the center behind your head. And then inhale, reach up, look up. Grab your other elbow, tricep stretch, look down. Try to get that elbow behind the center of your head. And then inhale, reach up, look up, hands to heart center. Okay, from here, we're going to extend the right leg and keep the left knee bent, Janu Shirshasana. You can stay on your blankets or you can push them back and sit on the floor. We're going to take the inhale of the rise overhead, rise the arms overhead, and then we're going to forward fold round towards your knee. And then just take a couple breaths here, and you can grab on wherever. If you can reach your foot, that's great. If you can't, just grab onto the leg somewhere. Let your spine round. Think of forehead to knee style, even if it doesn't touch. And this is stretching the left lower back, specifically these horizontal muscle fibers that run just above your hip. So this is getting a nice stretch in the lower back. Maybe you flex the right foot if you want more hamstring. Maybe relax the foot. That's up to you. And then from here, we're going to do like an up and over. So you're going to turn your heart away from your leg, reach your left arm to the ceiling up, and then let it go over to the right for a side bend. And then maybe you open your heart even more and look towards the ceiling. I like to also ground my right elbow and my arm like into the leg to kind of push and twist myself open. If that's inaccessible, you could also put a block under the arm somewhere, and that'll help create a little more space. And you have the option here to also half bind the left arm behind you if you want to explore how that feels in the shoulder. Or if you're enjoying the arm straight, you could keep the arm where it is. If that arm is binded, reach it up and over one more time. And then we're going to imagine like someone's pulling this left wrist. You're going to come up, guiding with that left hand, and take a little counter twist to the left. And then come forward. We'll just switch the legs. So left leg is straight, right knee is bent. Foot into the thigh, Janu Shirshasana. Take your forward fold toward your left leg. And we'll stay here for like 3 or 4 breaths with the option to flex the left foot or relax it, rounding the body, stretching the right side of your lower back and all through the spine. Maybe one more breath, and then you're going to do this up and over version where we're reaching the right arm to the ceiling and then over to the side. So we're thinking mostly length. So it's not about how far you could side bend and crunch yourself, but it's about how much you can expand and lengthen as you side bend. Option to half bind the right arm if that felt good on the other side and you want to explore it. And think of twisting your heart open towards the sky, or maybe you keep this right arm extended and just reach and feel that stretch all the way down into your right hip. And then imagine someone's pulling your wrist up. That right hand is going to guide you back up to an upright position, and then twist to the right. And then come forward. We're going to bring both feet together, knees wide, and just take a forward fold, Baddha Konasana. Maybe here you shake the head no. And then roll yourself back up. We're going to come to tabletop pose. So you can move your blocks out of the way. Maybe you put a blanket under your knees if you would like that. But we're just going to come to hands and knees, palms flat. Take a couple circles in the wrists so that you could get into the hands. And this is very revealing when we do these wrist circles because anything we're feeling in the hands and the wrists radiates up to our elbow and up to the shoulder and up to the neck. So if you're super tight in your neck and shoulders or back, you might even feel it here. So this is a good way to check in. Then we're going to do thread the needle. So left hand stays down, right arm peels open, and then exhale, thread this arm under the body. Lean into your right side. Maybe push into your left hand. I like to press into the tips of the fingers or flat into the palm. And we'll stay here for several breaths. So there's a couple variations for threaded needle. If you want to feel this a lot in your neck, and this feels pretty good, and your shoulders are rounded, and most of your weight is in your right side, your knee and your shoulder, turn your gaze towards the ceiling. So just looking to your left. This might change what you're feeling down the right side of your shoulder and your neck. If that doesn't feel good, or if you want to explore something different, you could kickstand the left leg and kind of straighten that leg. This is going to force more of your weight into the right side of your body. Or if there's other variations that you prefer, you could even bind this left arm behind your back. So all of these are going to give you slightly different effects. So you could play around with which version feels best for you. You could even pull the wrist with your left hand. And we'll finish out one more breath. And then you're going to ground your left palm to the mat. Reach your right arm to the ceiling. Inhale. And then exhale, bring that hand down. Left arm peels open, breathe in. Breathe out, thread the needle. And we're going to do the same thing here. So take any variation you want to explore. You could play around with different options. And this whole time while you're in the stretch, I want you to breathe, deepening your inhales and exhales, and really focusing on widening your shoulder blades, a part of letting your back round, of feeling that really deep stretch into that left side specifically. And with every inhale, try to create more space in between your ribs. See if you can breathe into the stretch. It's like there's a balloon inside of your chest, and you're trying to fill that balloon with as much air as possible, stretching it as wide as you can with every inhale, and then letting it release with every exhale. Let's take one or two more breaths. And when you're feeling complete here, you're going to ground your right palm to the mat and peel the left arm open on an inhale. And then bring it down on the exhale. So we're back into tabletop. Palms flat. We're just simply going to roll the shoulders. And you have the ground to push into, so we could get a little deeper into the scapula. So it's not really a cat-cow, because we're focusing mostly on the upper spine, where the shoulders connect with the arms. And if you can, maybe circle it the other way. It takes a little more coordination, but we're just getting deeper into the back. And then whenever this feels good for you, you're going to open the knees a little wider, bring your big toes towards each other, maybe they touch, and sink back into a child's pose. Crawl the fingers forward and slide your tailbone back and down so it starts to round towards your heels. Let's take a couple deep breaths. Close the eyes. Soften your jaw and your cheeks and your throat. Breathe into your back body. So feel how every time you inhale, you're stretching the back side of your lungs. You're expanding your ribs towards the ceiling. Imagine that your two lungs are two balloons and you're inflating them with air as much as you can, and then letting it release. We're going to continue to breathe here in child's pose. And if you'd like to add any additional stretches in your child's pose, you're welcome to take them now. Maybe crawling the hands over to one side and taking a diagonal stretch along the floor, going both ways, adding some little twists while you're down there. We're just going to take a few more moments in child's pose. And when you're ready, you're going to come back to tabletop and then find a seat. So maybe it's the same seat that you started the class with, maybe it's a different seat. And you're just going to let your shoulders relax, and this time turn the palms open. Maybe connect your pointer finger and your thumb lightly. I'll invite you to close the eyes so that you can tune in deeper to your body. And every time you exhale, let your shoulders relax. Notice the space you've created in your chest, your heart, your lungs, your neck, and your throat. And allow this space to create a new habit, a new pattern in your physical body, where maybe you're able to release some of that tension. Remember what this feels like. Notice how this is different than how you began. Notice if this changes the way you think or has shifted your mood at all. Just see energetically what feels different now that this part of the body is a little bit more open. And then I'll invite you to bring your palms together, to bow your head towards your heart. Thank yourself for showing up, for carving out this time to do something good for your body, mind, and spirit. And I'll see you next time. Namaste.